Look, man, it's not that the government is going to come and get your crypto, not yet anyway, but when they transition to CBDCs, central bank digital currencies, there's going to be how could I put it, man? A period of time where you're going to need to declare some things, paper-wise anyway, fiat money-wise. So look, historically, when the U.S. was like just dealing in gold, people would trade gold and gold coins and gold, blah, 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 blah. And it was a barter system, trade, and all that kind of stuff. When they used to do that, everything was cool, it was working like that, but, gold was very valuable. When they decided to switch to the paper currency, the fiat currency, what it allows the government to do is just print willy-nilly. Because, if you could just trade in gold and nobody knows what a transaction was between me and you, like, people wouldn't pay taxes. You know what I mean? And so the government wanted more tax money, not necessarily to deliver more services to the people, but because they had an agenda that they needed to confront and, start. And so they switched to the gold, to the fiat standard, but the fiat standard was then backed by gold, right? Your dollars became what are called coupons, and they were redeemable at a bank for whatever gold that you wanted to get. You used to be able to put in $1 and get $1 worth of gold. And $1 worth of gold used to be worth quite a bit. Now, okay, we're coming to, then when Nixon switched to, took the U.S. off the gold standard, right, and new bills were to be issued, they said, okay, look, we're going to give you a period of time where you can turn in your old bills that were redeemable for gold, right, and you get these new bills, right? If you have money in your bank account, it's just automatically changed over. But the old bills, okay, would be worth nothing after a certain date. It wouldn't be considered, currency after a certain date. And if you had old bills, you had to switch them out. It's just what it was. We're coming to a point in time where you're going to have to switch out your paper money because the paper money that you have will be considered worthless. And you will have to adopt the central bank digital currency. It's not conspiracy theory, y'all. It isn't. They tried to implement this in the very first stimulus bill. There was major pushback, so they changed the language. I think it's like March 21st, 2020. That edition of the stimulus bill had language in it. I think it was like page 31 or 36 or something like that. I covered it in a video on my channel. Go to like around that date, you'll find it. I pull it up and everything. So anyway, they want to move to the central bank digital currencies because they have, like, once they do that, they have literal control over the entire economy. Some of you who have mattress money, safe money, buried in the backyard money, you're going to have to declare that. You know what I mean? However you got it. I don't know how you got it. None of my business. I'm not judging. You know what I mean? But however you got it, you're going to have to declare it if you want the new currency, because that currency that you're holding is not going to be worth anything. Right? And, people have been, calling people conspiracy theorists and all this stuff. But there's some conspiracies that are now coming out to be like, man, they're actually true. You know what I mean? We call them conspiracy theorists prematurely. You know what I'm saying? Without all the evidence, without all the facts. You know what I'm saying? So, this digital dollar age that we're coming to, the government, which will control that platform. And that platform, it's as simple as saying, nah, you've had too much to drink. Oh, you bought too many Hershey Kisses. No more Hershey Kisses. You know what I'm saying? Hey, you know what? We don't want you to buy Nestle products anymore. Or we don't want you to buy this organic product that is good for you anymore. Nestle's good for you because we said it. Our scientists and blah, blah, blah said it. It's good for you. Only buy Nestle products from now on. Your money can only do that from now on. You think it won't happen. You know what I mean? But there's so much that people thought wouldn't happen that literally came to pass and is coming to pass. And we're passing through right now. You know what I'm saying? So this is like, if you think the marriage of corporations and government, you know, is far reaching today, as an overreach today, you wait until this thing kicks off. This digital dollar stuff kicks off. I mean, it's going to be real bad. You know what I mean? It's important to note that you have a way out, and that is through cryptocurrencies. I think, pretty sure, the government, somewhere, somebody has been planning the CBDC thing for a long time, you know, probably at least in the last 15, 20 years, designing a platform and looking for a way to implement it without, you know, so much controversy. And, you know, they didn't quite bank on the existence or the proliferation of an alternative currency. Now, digital currencies are, Bitcoin is not a digital currency. Digital currencies and cryptocurrencies are different things. There are some coins that are being called cryptocurrencies but are actually just digital currencies. Cryptocurrencies are cryptographically you know, protected currencies where the creator or the controller of the network has no control over what you can do with your funds on said network, right? That's a cryptocurrency. A digital currency is where, you know, like Facebook, if they came out with a coin, when they came out with the coin, you know, they control the distribution and the payment network that governs that currency. So they can say, you know, hey, yeah, you're using Libra or Diem and it's Facebook's coin. However, we don't want you to use this currency with our competitor. And so now you can't use it with your competitor, with their competitor, I mean, right? Now you strip them you're stripped of the freedom to use it with their competitor. Now, if they align with, you know, Chevron gas station, guess what? You may not be able to use that currency now with Shell or BP or Exxon, you know what I mean? Until they come aboard with DM, maybe, you know what I'm saying? But now you can't use it with Chevron. So now what if you have DM, right? You may have $20 in dollars, maybe you got $10 in Bitcoin, but you got $100 in DM, and you want to go and spend it with a Shell gas station because there's no other gas station around. You're running on fumes. You got $100. You can fill up your tank, but they don't take, you know, DM at that competitor, right? Like that, and that's what Facebook could do. The government can do things with far more overreach than that. You know what I mean? And so it's not about right-wing or left-wing politics. These are things like, all right, look, you got to be careful about what you advocate for, right? Because we live in Western democracies, right? And in Western democracies, there's a transfer of power from administration to administration. Even if the same president is there, the cabinet members change. You know what I'm saying? And so with the transfer of power from administration to administration, that creates a level of, or a necessity for a level of foresight that you have to have in regards to the capabilities you advocate for whichever administration is in office. So let's say you're a left-wing person, you vote for the left-wing person to be in office, you vote for policies that may be a little bit more radical than what we're used to. And in doing so, you grant never before seen powers to this left-wing administration of government at the executive, judicial, or legislative level. You know what I'm saying? Then there's a vote, and people didn't like how that went. And so they vote for the new administration, which may be a right-wing one. Well, guess what? all those powers that you gave to the left-wing administration now are in control of the right-wing administration. And in the same way that you may not have liked the policies from the right-wing administration, so you augmented the powers for the left-wing side, when that transfer of power occurs, now the right-wing side has access to those same augmented powers. And if they don't like you and how things were going in your policies and things you like, guess what? You just gave them the power to enact whatever policy that they want with those powers that may not be in your favor. Ooh. So, when this central bank digital currency thing occurs, it can go either way, right? And, we can talk right wing, left wing, and that's fine. And, there's validity to those arguments, both sides. But, when we're talking internal government versus external public, those powers now are, if the right wing sees the left wing gain certain powers, they'll look at that quite favorably, because when it's their turn, they get to take those powers too, and vice versa, right? The politicians, people who have regulatory, authority, when they see some other administration gain those powers, they think, wow, when I get there, I'm going to use that for this or that or the third. And so what that creates, okay, by design, right? Just simply as a quid pro quo, you know what I mean? What that creates is a sense of camaraderie, I could say, among politicians using, the powers that are enumerated to them as politics progresses, right? Man, it can get super heavy, man. It can get super heavy. So I say that to say this: central bank digital currency thing. Please, like when you look at issues, especially issues like that, it's not a right wing or left wing thing. It's not like, oh, my team wants this, so I want it too. Nah, that's not how you want to look at it, because you want to look at it in terms of what power you're granting to the other side by granting that same power to you today. The other side will get it tomorrow because you're getting it today. And with that, Bitcoin. It is important for all of us to seriously consider adopting a currency that is free from the control of any of these parties, any of these administrations. Nobody has the steering wheel on this stuff. It sounds like a ridiculous thing, but this can very much happen, right? Like we're looking at it in Canada right now with Trudeau. You show up to a protest. When is a protest supposed to be comfortable? You know what I mean? When is a protest supposed to be like, something that doesn't ruffle any feathers and it's all good and, okay, cool, let's all be cool about it. Like a protest isn't supposed to be like that. You know what I mean? If it is like that, probably not a protest. You know what I'm saying? It's like a little, pity party that you should throw, and, everybody gets together and does that in a public fashion. But if it's a protest, it's probably going to be a little bit of disruption going on. And because of people participating in protests, they're calling for, and actually doing this, freezing bank accounts. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? You might be thinking, hey, man, but, these protests are so disruptive that, they got to do something. And so freezing the bank account, that's the only thing they could do. And da-da-da-da, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, like if it's something that's principled, if it's a principled thing to do, like freezing bank accounts, how come I could be, if I'm a convicted pedophile, or if I'm a convicted rapist or a convicted murderer, my bank account doesn't get frozen? Why not? You know what I'm saying? How come my bank account's not frozen? You know what I mean? Or if I am somebody who shot somebody else unjustly. You know what I mean? How come my bank account doesn't get frozen? You know? And you start to look at this thing like, I wonder why that doesn't happen. You know, what's the point of that? You know, if you're calling for somebody who showed up at a protest, you know, and you're calling for them to have their bank account frozen, then, you know, somebody who did far worse than that, why don't they have their bank account frozen? And then, so like, let's say you're like, oh, you know, maybe we should freeze it. And you're trying to make a list in your head of people's accounts that you could freeze. Here's the thing, right? One day, something you do, that maybe is not illegal. Maybe it's not illegal. Somebody just doesn't like it. And they just have the power to enact this enumerated power that you granted to the government. And they decide that your bank account needs to be frozen. You didn't do anything illegal. And in your eyes, you're not even doing anything wrong. You're standing up for yourself and your rights. But somebody else just doesn't like it. Whew, now what you gonna do? And they say, you know what? Freeze that. Freeze his bank account. Freeze that joint. Freeze. Freeze it up. Now what? That's what I'm saying, man. Look, I don't want control over anybody's money, and I don't want anybody having control over my money. And so, you know, Bitcoin, in a nutshell, that's all that it is, you know. So yeah, man, that's my 2 cents. Hope all is well. Hope everything's going great for you. And maybe this gave you some thought, man. If you have mattress money, if you have safe money, buried in the ground money, I mean, you know, I know you're putting it there because it's safe, right? Excuse me. But so is Bitcoin. I mean, Bitcoin's way safer. Nobody can just stumble on your Bitcoin accidentally. You know what I'm saying? And you can always trade it for cash, and you can travel around the world wherever they'll let you go, and you can find a way to use it there. So, yeah, man, that's my 2 cents. Be safe. Love ya. Peace.